Boom. Welcome to If They Won't Listens, episode 31, featuring Chris. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pleasure to have you.
Welcome.
How's everyone else doing? Leon, Spencer, what's going on with you guys?
No complaints, here, man. You know what? Actually, I celebrated a milestone yesterday. I finally put in the 365 on no smoking for a whole year.
Wow.
So I was just
Nice.
like, all right, that's a nice little
That's an
milestone.
applause,
That's
man.
great.
Yeah, congratulations, dude.
Word.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, because you know, like when you're talking to someone and you're like, hey, do you smoke? If they respond with smoke what? You're like, I know what you smoke. But do you mean cigarettes or the
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
cigarettes.
That was the context I took.
Yeah.
I'll be a year right around the 4th.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
That's good.
smoked for 11 years, Marlboro Reds, packs a day, and
Yes, cowboy killers.
yeah, dude, I love
If
it.
it was hard. It's hard for me to call myself a former smoker. I was so on and off of it while I was in college, all the way up until I graduated. And I was, I'd be on it for 6 months or 3 months, and I'd be off of it for 6 months or 3 months, and I'd be back on it. So I was always on and off. I never really got addicted to it. But then again, I didn't do cowboy killers. I did the cloves, the drums.
Those are
Oh,
bad.
geez.
They
Yeah.
smell good.
Oh, they
smell real good.
Yeah, I know you're saying, yeah, that little the crackling sound when you inhale. I do. I'm not gonna lie, man. I do miss that sometimes, but I can't smoke now, man. No. My wife she would kill me.
Well, you might already be predisposed to that having a wife, just so you know.
You don't know. You don't know, man. You don't know my wife, bro.
Everyone's
Yeah.
unique, man. Paradigms don't overlap.
Everyone's unique like a snowflake, even though actually snowflakes are alike sometimes. Probability
Can't happen. It
It can't happen.
You tell me none of that thing comes out of the printer the same. God just putting paper down. He doesn't give a shit. It's
Bro.
it just falls down.
God is basically Larry David.
He's
Of our
Larry.
lives.
That I would say he is, and it would look like him. The hair, the line, not giving a
Right.
shit, calling you out.
I mean, if we really had to look at some of the tragic comedy that is our world, we could take a look at the fact that this past week, if you guys were on Reddit and you saw all the posts about this Amy Schelner person who was apparently a pedophile enabler.
Oh my god.
That worked out. Yeah, she just got if apparently the story goes that she got found out. People at Reddit found out about it on March 9th and waited 2 weeks to finally fire her. And then the people on Reddit were just posting videos and this like one specific news expose that came out over a year ago about her. How it explains like how she was a part of the Green Party in the UK, I think specifically in London, and then how she became part of the Liberal Democrats and how she was okay with the fact that her father was abusing a 10-year-old child upstairs in the attic. It was
Oh Jesus.
it was fucking it was a really really nutty story. And the fact
One
that
way to phrase it.
you have this
Yeah.
you have this transgender leftist that was an admin at Reddit that was there for who knows how long before they finally let her go. And this is crazy. And I just mean that's the tragic comedy that is our world.
So do you have a Reddit account, Leon?
Yeah.
Did you get rid of it now?
So that's where I'm kind of going, should I get rid of it? I mean, they stated that they didn't know right away about it. It went on for a while. So that tells me that clearly Reddit is just being stupid and just doing a very lackadaisical background and vetting process with people that come and start working for it. From what I understand, from what I read and heard from other people, from different sources, is that she started off as a mod somewhere. She was just a moderator, which anyone could be a moderator.
Yeah.
And then eventually worked her way up to becoming an admin. And they just didn't bother really doing a background check. So it's really tough. Do I really want to get rid of my Reddit account at this point? Or am I a part of the problem if I stay on? It's really tough to say. I'm hitting this gray area. I can't say that the rest of Reddit is a bunch of pedophile enablers. I can't because I don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, I look at that the same way that I look at the slave trade on cobalt. I mean, every cell phone in existence has cobalt in it, and there's a monopoly on cobalt by big country leaders and fourth world countries basically. And cobalt's mined only by slaves. So like all Apple phones have technically a slave product in it. Rogan did a whole bunch of exposés on it and talked to a bunch of people about it, and it's like, just like 16 hours that way. It's a whole new. And it's like I'm not gonna not have a phone because there might have been an 8-year-old involved in making it. Like
Yeah.
that's
It's the scruples of living is become such a large blob of graying.
Oh, God, yeah.
You do your best to be good, but then you find out that your phone has material in it mined by slaves.
No, yeah, I mean, it blew my doors off when I heard it. I did some research into it, and it's like, oh yeah, so that's true, but what's the alternative? And Rogan mentioned, he was like, what if someone made a phone that didn't have that material in it and called it like the slave free phone? Or he didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like
I could just see Rogan doing that.
Market it as the thing
What
that's
if-
not
What
bad.
is that phone?
I got that slave free phone, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. It's if no one told you that sentence, your conscience is clear. Is that ignorance is bliss, or is that just there's so much info you can't I don't know. But we touched on Larry David, and we before the show we're talking a little bit about some things Chris had prepared to talk about. Yeah. So
Like an Archer episode going on right now.
do you think so?
Yeah, a lot of phrase.
You want to scrape the top socket? Wow, top socket. That was a stutter lag. Do you want to scrape the top subject off that board of yours?
Bring that top subject off. All right. So when was everyone's first encounter with Seinfeld?
I would say when I was a kid back in the 90s. I want to say about maybe 8 years old, maybe somewhere around there. When I was way before I was a preteen.
Yeah, I must have been like 10 or something, and it was just on TV that was on in the living room or something, and my dad liked watching it. He liked the humor in it, and yeah, so I don't know, probably about 10.
I was about, I'd say like anywhere from like 7 to like 9. Like, 'cause my brother's 7 years older than me, so almost everything on TV was a sitcom or I probably shouldn't be watching. So I can remember Seinfeld reruns all the time, and Yes Dear, if you remember that on TBS back in the day.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Loved that. I
With
mean,
Michael
laughing at stuff I
Malley.
don't even know what's happening, but it's like, I hear the track. See, about 7 and 9. Like, oh, great shows.
Absolutely. Michael Malley was on the Yes Dear, right?
Yes, I believe he was.
Dude,
Michael
that guy
Malley
was so awesome in Guts.
I was gonna say that too, man. Michael Malley was the host of Guts. That's where I always remember Michael Malley from. Who's gonna go up the crag today, man? I used to religiously watch that show when I was a kid.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it's
Never heard of
Spencer and I are
Guts.
90s kids, so we grew up on this. We're that Nickelodeon generation that
Looking this up at Nickelodeon.
Rocco's Modern Life, Rugrats.
Yeah.
Was it
Noggin.
Double Dare, Noggin, all that.
I mean,
Oh,
I was
this
born.
looks sick.
I was born in '94, but I was like, I don't know, Scooby Doo, Zaboomafoo, Rocket Power, Hey Arnold. You know what I mean? Like those ring a bell. Cat Dog.
Hey Arnold is still solid like kid.
Yo, it is. Cat Dog is trash. Cat Dog is trash. I remember I could never get into that show. I mean,
I would see that on like a VHS preview. I was like, what the fuck is this? Thank God I grew up later. Like,
it wasn't good, man. You could just tell Nickelodeon was just throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck. And then they landed in 1999. They landed on SpongeBob, and that's been their cash cow ever since.
So good.
I liked it originally when it was called Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh man, Rocco's Modern Life. I have yet to rewatch that because of how my nostalgic. Because I don't watch things a lot with nostalgic glasses, so it's really tough for me to go back and rewatch old things and go, oh man, this does not hold up. For a perfect example of that, Labyrinth. Everyone claims that this is the best movie in the world. I go, no, the movie's fucking trash. It's just terrible. You have this pretentious girl who speaks in Shakespearean English, Elizabethan English, who wants to get out of babysitting her brother and begs David Bowie to come David Bowie the kid away. It's just dumb.
You have something against David Bowie?
Yeah.
I love.
Sounds
No,
like it.
David Bowie is the only redeeming part of that entire movie. That's it.
And you just sit there. David Bowie's coming. David Bowie's coming. It's okay.
Yeah, literally. Chris is right. I remember just sitting there.
See.
I watched this movie 6 years ago, going, "When's David Bowie coming?" Because I'm tired of this girl talking about doth this and doth that, and oh, I don't want my brother. Oh, please, Goblin King, take my brother away. Yes, sir, I'm going to take your brother away. Finally, Bowie's in. He's saving my.
So has anybody ever been on a subway with a nudist before?
Yeah.
No, God, that sounds terrifying.
God.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I've been on it like when it's very, very hot and sweaty. And I mean, like, close stick. You see things. I mean,
You see things.
you don't
never
want to
forget
see
that
them,
one
but you
time.
do.
Oh,
God.
See,
well,
that's
at least you get the stickiness.
The experience of the
least.
subway was one of the things that rifted me when I first moved to Boston. So I moved there with like a backpack at like 15, just being like, a kid with a stick and a bandana on the end, like, let's go. And I'm there with my buddy Wayne, and he's like, all right, man, we're gonna take the train. I'm like, cool. And I have money, like not that I'm rich, but like I figured we'll pay a few dollars and we'll go take the train. And so we start walking, and I see the sign. I'm like, we're going towards the exit. And he's like, yeah, like, why would we pay? You just wait till someone comes out and you jump in the bars with them and you go their counterpart and you walk down. And I was like I was almost back. I was like, you're fucking with me, right? Like, you're going to put me 6 inches between some 3-inch bars with someone else who's leaving to counterpart our way. And he's like, oh yeah, everyone will let us. And I was
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like a plot to a Seinfeld episode.
I could just see Kramer and George. Like, George, come on. I do it all the time with my friend Bob Sacramento. He goes into one and you just flip through the other side. Thinks, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Like,
it blew me away, and it worked. Literally, the first 2 people that came up, first dude, Wayne was like, hop in. I was like, no. And he did. Whoop, and then it click, 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 click. And then he was like, I'm waiting. And I'm like, no, I'm staring at the exit. You just went through. There's cameras. He's like, bro, you know how many people live in this town? They're not going to come after us for this. I'm like, okay. Sure enough, we get down there and you get to the bottom of the big staircase, and it's like, wow, yeah, there's no security and we're just in the place. Like, it looks like we walked towards the exit and forgot we wanted to go buy something in the vending machine. Like it so I never paid for the subway. You just
Flawless.
You leave and enter through the exit. That's the key.
I'm thinking too, if I'm leaving, honestly, if I saw 2 guys like that, I'd probably just be like, yeah, I do the same. And I just let you go. I'd be like, I'm doing the same thing. If I'm that, yeah, do it up.
Think about it now with COVID. You'd see someone, you'd be like, that ain't in my 6 foot, bro. I'll put mine in between these bars. You ain't getting in. No.
Oh, man.
But speaking of Seinfeld, I mean, the most, like, when I found out that was going to be part of our topic this week, I was like, wow, okay, so I know a little bit of something. But like, when I really thought about it, the biggest thing that came to my memory was that damn dance that Elaine did.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Like,
dance.
out of everything, like, I can see it at the party. You know what I mean? The tables and the people, and she's on the hardwood floor, just fucking having a stroke.
The beauty about that is that then she, at the end of near the end of the episode, she wants to see how the dance is, and then she records herself doing it, but she records over the ending of a movie,
Of
so she can see
cry again.
crying game.
Yeah, something like
The crying game.
I think so. Yeah.
Which has the twist that the woman in it is a guy. And then they couldn't explain the ending. I remember this episode because then they explain, they go, it's so bad that there's a woman or something.
There's a woman.
Chris knows it better than I do because he's
like
the Seinfeld guy.
Who starts like hurling herself uncontrollably. Like, yeah, it's a sight to see. And then he just gives the tape and off and on. And then you see like later on, right? Like walk by everybody on the street and everyone's seeing the tape and they, when you wish upon the tape. Oh my God, such a classic episode. What I can't believe is she did that without music. Like, I can't believe that stuff, that they do that without music. Like, how just awkward and how just, that's got to be until you throw a track over it to make it go, okay, that's at least somewhat presentable. Like, good on freaking her for doing that. Like, Julia,
absolutely. She's a
I've learned from another podcast that's the Office Lady podcast, where it's 2 actresses
Mm-hmm.
great
that are rewatching the show again, and they mentioned that anytime there's a scene where there's music, that music is not present because it messes up with the audio that they were trying to record, that they're recording in that scene. So everyone's just dancing to nothing, and then they dub the music over the dialogue and make it, and then they do their mixing so that you can hear the dialogue more than the music. So every time you see people dancing, I always imagine going, man, those people are dancing to nothing.
I feel that too. Like, how odd is that? You're just like consistently, for not just like a 5 minutes for that shot, you're probably doing that for a couple 3 hours. Like, geez.
Fuck, 67 takes.
So not to confuse you guys here, because I've never done this before on the show, but I'm just sending you guys over links that in a little while, when we run out of, or not run out of, but segue into something else, I've got some stuff I'm going to be able to show the viewers, but you guys won't see it unless you go to the link yourself at the same time.
Fair enough.
So just, we can continue talking. I just wanted to let you know the next like 8 messages you get they're not some stranger trying to take your
no, I saw that it was from I saw it was from you. But okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, Chris is this aficionado on Seinfeld. You've been watching it since you're 7 years old. So you got a good solid 14 years of watching the show. That's amazing. So one of the things that you brought up is that it's longevity, which is, I can co-sign. There's people that I know from 1993 that still talk about that show to this day. And then I even remember my generation growing up who religiously watched Seinfeld when we were kids, up until we were in college, and still will go back and rewatch the show. Now you're saying that even beyond today, it's going to have even more longevity into the future, correct?
I know I think it will always stay just because of how much of part of culture it was. But I start to wonder if like episodes and jokes will bring the ear of people and start to make us go, well, that's not really, like, I know there's a few episodes that when I watch, I skip over because I'm like, I don't like that. That's not with my views now. One thing like I could think of is like George Costanza, and I know it's his character, but his homophobia in some episodes. Will that stand? Like, there's one line I remember Elaine says, it doesn't make you gay if you say a man's, good looking. And he's like, that doesn't help. Like, I'm like, a line like that, very funny, I will admit, but is that kind of like, is going with how we are, I don't think his homophobia, which is very apparent physically, you can see it,
right,
vocally you hear it, is that something we can accept going forward, even though it still is comedy? What's your guys' kind of view?
My view on that is the fact that you have to take it as is. If this is a show from the early 90s, and Spencer, I'm at this point, I'm guessing that you and I are pretty similar, or pretty close in age. And we both, growing up in the 90s, homosexuality was still kind of a weird thing to accept for a lot of people. Now, my grandmother was friends in Miami Beach. She was friends with every gay guy. So I grew up being around gay people. So it never bothered me growing up. Never. So it became a very normal thing for me. And I always thought it was weird that people were assholes to people that identified as gay or lesbian, whatever. But you have to look, but back then it still was viewed that way. And the show is a product of it. The show is a product of its time. So if you watch it with the viewpoint of, look, this is back in a time when homosexuality was still coming into the mainstream. It wasn't all the way in the mainstream. You can literally say that it had just gotten its foot in the door. There was a minority of people who accepted it as hey, that's just them. That's their truth. But then you have a large majority. Then you have a number of people who were, I don't like that. And then a number of people going, it's weird. I mean, they're not hurting anyone, but it's really weird that it's a woman that wants to be with a woman, and it's a guy that wants to be with a guy. Now, when they have sex, does the other penis open up to accept the other penis?
What is the clitoris?
Yeah. And I mean, that's how I would look at it. You just have to look at it that it's a product of its time. It really is. And I mean, you can look at Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was a very if you go back and watch it, it's very transphobic. Very transphobic.
I haven't seen that movie in years. I'm gonna take a look back at that. And I agree with you. I look at it as in that time of, that's kind of the 90s. And it's not like Seinfeld didn't accept it. They were accepting. They just cracked the jokes because, like as you're saying, that's that time of culture. It didn't hit the mainstream. And I really have to agree with you on that. What are your guys' other takes on its like longevity with it being like so old, and some of these jokes, some of these references, are they still going to be going on with our time? What do you think? Or is it going to take friend of a friend to be like, oh no, this is what he means by that reference in order to continue this show into the future?
Spence, what do you think?
Well, I think it's more or less just going to be its own generational thing. It's going to be pretty much like how Cheers was. It was like the generation before us really enjoyed Cheers, and they put it on such a high plateau. And it's like, you know, there's still those group of people who are that much of a fanatic of Cheers, like we are the fanatics of Seinfeld. And I think the next generation after that is probably like the Office generation, who they'll carry their torch for that until, you know, the next thing that comes out after The Office, whatever it may be. So I think for us, we're just going to enjoy it, and the pop culture lexicon that it manages to keep having the legs to keep going, you know, is impressive. But at the same time, you know, what once was like a nice fine wine is now turning into like a nice smoky scotch, where it's more like less is more.
Yeah.
And you just kind of enjoy it in small portion nowadays.
I agree. And like with the streaming services, they're going to Netflix. Netflix paid that huge deal. A lot of people don't have Netflix now anymore. So like you're saying, you get those little doses of, yeah, well, you know, it's the one thing on Netflix I'll watch a month. Whereas like The Office, all these shows going to NBC's network, Peacock.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'd see that. What do you guys?
I'm just
too many streaming platforms, honestly, at this point.
There are so many.
I want
like
Quibi back. Give me Quibi back. No.
I want to touch on the whole homophobia thing real quick, just for a second.
Let's do it. Let's go right back.
Yeah, go back.
The thing that I'm just curious about, like, I remember when I first got Paint on the computer, and I could draw a line, and then I could click the eraser button, and I could erase the line. And like that's such a simple concept. I mean, it's as easy as a spoon or a fork. You know, it's the tool used to do it. But so I'm just curious, how many more times can we apply the eraser to history until there's no history? You know, like if we delete I'm not for any racist or homophobia or any of that. Like I think everyone should do what you want to do and knock yourself out, especially as long as you don't infringe on me. Like I'm all for you believing in God. Just don't shove a Bible down my throat. I'm all for you being literally almost whatever you want. Just don't put it on my hand and make me hold it. You know?
Should I put my Bible away now? I'm sorry. I was gonna segue into Lazarus. I'm kidding.
But no, I'm just so. Have they removed any of the blackface or homophobia from it yet?
Pardon?
Have they removed anything from Seinfeld yet?
And they haven't, but I know with 30 Rock, I never got into 30 Rock.
I did.
Took those episodes off of 30 Rock.
They did it twice.
That's why I haven't watched it, because I would want to watch it all the way through, not going out and looking. It's only for a few seconds, but like the Seinfeld one to me is kind of bad, especially with Michael Richards' history. It's
afterwards, by the way.
But that is afterwards as well. That was
afterwards. Check the timeline.
It is an iffy one where I'm like, I don't know, but you look at The Office, they have it, but again, it's more of a historical festival character. I don't know. I think that could get the axe. Just that last little bit of the episode, they might cut it and just not have it.
It depends on it's a contextual thing. As a person who watched 30 Rock from its beginning all the way to its end, when they did the blackface, not once, twice, 2 different seasons, both unrelated, with actually the same character doing it. The first time they did it, it was the character Jenna and Tracy, and they were going back and forth about who has it the hardest, black men or women. And they said, okay, well, there's only one way to do this. We need to Freaky Friday this and switch places. So Tracy is cross-dressing as a white woman and pretending to be a white woman. And then when he elaborates on why he's doing that to Liz Lemon, they put 2 and 2 together and realize that means Jenna is about to do blackface. And they smash cut right then and there to Jenna in blackface makeup, her face painted black, her hair in a wig, as almost like like a flat top.
Yeah.
And then she's doing this really bad Chris Rock impression.
Oh
And
God.
honest, in contextually, it's funny because it's making fun of the fact that like blackface is controversy. You shouldn't be doing blackface, but that's what makes that scene so funny. Now they don't mean to be hateful about it. That's not the contest. It wasn't that let's make a minstrel black character on the show. It was, hey, we're gonna do this thing where they swap because they're both so stupid that they don't think about the consequences of their own actions. And then they did it again with Jenna, who wanted to be Swan from this NFL player named Swan. And she did, once again, cross-dressing black, like all face painted black. And it was, I didn't, at that point, there wasn't really, it was, once again, she's just a stupid celebrity. She doesn't know any better. I think that, as a matter of fact, they were poking fun at the fact that there was an actress, I think, who did blackface at a Halloween party. And everyone was upset, going, no, she should not be putting her face in black makeup to look like a black person. That's awful. And I think they were poking fun of that because the show was meant to be satire on that whole, it was just a very satirical show. Now, where I had a problem with a show, when they just made the decision, we're going to cut this off because it's blackface, was the episode of Community about Dungeons and Dragons. He was a drow. He was a drow. They're dark elves. It's not black people, it's dark elves. And they made a joke around that, oh, he's doing blackface. No, he's a dark elf. And that was the joke. And then they took the whole episode off, which I thought was just so stupid. Just so stupid.
That's how I feel, because you look at the back context of it. I think Kramer in that episode, it's one where Courtney Cox, she guest stars in it, which is kind of very cool crossover at the time. But he is getting his quilt at the dry cleaner, and he can't get it because Jerry's, obviously he doesn't have the dry cleaner, it's Jerry's. So he goes to the tan to look fresh and falls asleep, which is very true to Kramer. I think that's fine when you have that context. And I just don't know. I don't see it staying up because it's the end of an episode. I think they would cut it because it's like the end footnote to finish off an episode. I would like it to, but with it just being so easy, I don't know.
I believe keeping it in its, I believe keeping things in their pure form, especially if it wasn't their intention to be racist. As far as I don't watch it. I know that it's on, unfortunately for Chris, he doesn't have Hulu.
We don't have Hulu.
Yeah, they don't have Hulu in Canada. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Whoa, pause. I mean, hey, you could have a VPN and still get it,
right?
Yeah. By the way, this episode is sponsored by NordVPN. With NordVPN, you can go anywhere and pretend that you're anywhere. So if Chris can VPN into America and watch Hulu on all of his devices.
They can sponsor us.
Get my Hulu.
Hit us up. No, that's crazy though. So if you, why though? Like do they align with values that your country wouldn't? Like what's the reason?
We're so weird. Like we have our own Super Bowl commercials. Like sometimes they'll cut. Like you don't the American feed will get cut. Sometimes they'll roll through. It's just like,
it's like a whole streaming. It's a right of streaming service that's over there. They don't, our country, like how the way we do our IP with how the way Canada does their policies, it doesn't exactly line up. Hence why Hulu, because it uses certain major networks such as CBS and ABC and Disney as the major investors, it becomes a problem of what can be streamed or what can. A good example of this, and now, so we're not deviating. Are You Afraid of the Dark, which is a Nickelodeon show here in America, but it was produced in Canada, and the only way to get it now is to get it on DVD, and the DVDs for each season is $80 and up.
Oh wow!
They actually have it on Paramount TV now.
I heard. This episode is sponsored by Paramount Plus.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
like, freaking hell! I mean, I've got I got Crave TV. Crave is a Canadian service, really good.
Right,
I've never even heard of that.
I've heard of it.
Dab pen.
They've got so you can also sign up with like HBO, all these other shows. They've got that, Disney, Netflix. That's kind of all we've got going.
Yeah.
Like here in Canada, it's mainly streaming because we've got a monopolized kind of like cable and internet kind of market with like Rogers, Cogeco, Bell. They're kind of like the big three giants and just monopolize everything.
Yeah.
Dude, I have so many. It's ridiculous. I mean, off the top of my head, I got Hulu, HBO, Netflix, Vudu, Peacock,
What about Tubi?
HBO Max.
We get Tubi. I got Tubi on my phone.
Why does
So
no one
fun.
talk about Tubi, bro?
I've got like three different ones for anime. Funimation,
Crunchyroll.
and I forget the
Verve?
third. It's a little bit smaller. But yeah, no, there's so fucking many. It's gonna get to the point where in like 10 years, you're like there's gonna be, you know, I used to think like everyone would see the biggest shows that come on, but now there's literally just so many shows. Like you can be an actor if you want. When I was a kid, an actor was a special person. Nowadays, dude, there's so many movies being filmed at all points. Like you can be the main character in some tiny, you know, $10,000 budget movie that's shot on an iPhone. You know, I shoot 4K on my iPhone, and that, you know, it's not even a new iPhone. I can't imagine if you had an iPhone 12, you could just be like, yep, here's my the equivalent of a $4,000 2004 camera. And you know, it just happens to be on top of my smartphone.
And then you shop it around, see if Netflix or Hulu will pick it up, or maybe even Quibi.
Exactly. Doesn't happen. You post it on YouTube, and then it gets picked up from there, or it stays on as a YouTube series. You know,
that's how Lily Singh got a talk show.
I don't even know who that is.
Works.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch it. I don't care. I think it's called A Little Late with Lily Singh. I mean, just I'm not dogging on her. I'm not into late night talk shows because first off, they're late night. It's past my curfew. It's usually when I'm gaming is late night. So do I want to watch talk show, you know, some host talking to some celebrity, or do I want to play video games? It's usually the latter.
That's the thing with me. Like I'm dividing my time fractionally as is. You know what I mean? Like part of it's for, you know, trying to advance this show and then learning more things. Part of it's, you know, spending hours on Amazon looking at more parts for this beast behind me. And just so many little things like that. And then working and, you know, trying to find time to do everything as a parent and chores and bills and yada. You know, I have so many lists, it's ridiculous. I have three notebooks below my monitor. I have a whiteboard right there. I have a tack board next to it, and then I have a notepad on my computer. Like I'll move one sentence from there to my notebook to my monitor in 10 minutes, and it's not intended. Like I took it from there and wrote it there so I could bring it up on the show, and then I was like, no, I need the link and I need the video. So I took it from the notebook and put it on the computer, and then it drives me insane. Like
that's a very interesting system.
It's a very
Literally listening to you talk sounds like a Seinfeld episode. That sounds like something that Kramer would do. If I have a system in place, Jerry. I have a system in place, Jerry. I put it on the board, and when it's on the board, I break it down, and then I put it over there.
I try to be systematic and categorical with everything. Even if it's a system I create, I feel like having a shitty system is better than having no system and expecting progress. You know, I can update a shitty system, but if there's no system, what are you going to upgrade? Your ignorance?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that. Hey, so bad segue. I want to go circle back to censorship and Seinfeld. Now, I want to go back to this topic.
I'm grabbing a beer. Keep rolling. Sorry.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. So I'm going back to Seinfeld and censorship and how we get to these points of racism or homophobia, or etc. There is an episode that's very controversial, and besides the Blackface episode, and it's the Puerto Rican Day episode. Do you know that one?
You know what? I do not watch the finale, not for those reasons. That is part of it. That's not even the finale. Oh my God, what am I saying? Jeez. But I don't watch Puerto Rican Day. That is part of it. Also because I feel like it's towards the end of the season. Backlash. I don't watch end of seasons of shows because I'm like, if I don't watch the end, it never ends. It still goes on.
Why I did that? I did the same thing with The Office. I get it.
And I think it's killed me with Seinfeld. But it is varied. I mean, with Kramer stomping on the flag, I can see wherever they're going, where Elaine is just trying to lead hopeless people who just want to get home to their Sunday dinner, you know, with their family. But the jabs at the Puerto Ricans just kind of being crazy and kind of just relentless, and it's not a good look for them.
It really, it's a really, as someone that I grew up Latino. I grew up in South Florida.
Oh, nice.
So everybody in South Florida is Latino.
Mhm.
Okay, they're either Puerto Rican, Cuban, Venezuelan, Colombian, Argentinian, Chilean, what have you.
Yeah.
Okay, you got your Mexicans, you have your Guatemalans. Okay,
Guatemalans?
Guatemalans.
Guatemalans.
I
It's a
butchered
soft
that
G,
bad.
like lasagna.
Soft G, Guatemalans. Anyways, it's a very diverse area. It's a very diverse area in Florida. And so I grew up with lots of Latin people, and then Puerto Ricans are very prideful people. When that episode came out, there was a huge backlash from especially in New York. Because that's what there are a lot of Puerto Rican people in New York, as much as there are in Orlando. And I just know that for a fact, because I used to live in Orlando, and there's just a lot of Puerto Rican people, a huge Puerto Rican population in Orlando. And that when that episode came out, there was a huge backlash in New York about that. And they've never aired that episode ever again. There was a one-time thing. I think they made an apology about it. I don't know the whole history, but I do remember it just did raise a lot of controversy.
No,
so
it's not on reruns?
I don't even know if it's on
not
Hulu.
as sanctioned. I mean,
so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
check
like
if it's
look up.
on. And yeah, if
Yeah,
it's on
I'm gonna do that
Hulu.
right now. So I'm gonna DuckDuckGo the episode because I don't use Google.
I know for a fact, like all the episodes are on Crave, the Canadian version.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I could see not being rerun. I mean, what they did was way too far in it. It a surprising kind of take for Seinfeld to go. I mean, they honestly never really pushed that boundary of heavy racism. I mean, you had the little blackface before, but I think they definitely learned from that blunder going forward. Whenever they kind of did that joke, it was usually George trying to gain a friend, which you could say as well as part of that. But this was crossing the line, and you wonder if Larry David's there, does that happen? If he stays on for those extra years.
Okay, so it was the 20th episode of the final season. So that's the 9th season. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on Hulu right now and just look up Seinfeld on my Hulu. First, I'm gonna dislike it because I don't like Seinfeld.
It does have really good lines though, like when Jerry says, "Where is the Saab factory? Like, who's at the Saab factory?" And Kramer's like, "There, it's in Sweden."
So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on my camera so you can see this. So let me know if you can see that. But right there, that's the Puerto Rican Day episode, and it is actually on Hulu on Run.
It is on Hulu.
Yep, it is. It is on Hulu. So no, if you guys can, I don't know how.
Yeah. It zoomed in for a second. We get the premise.
All right, good. So it is on there.
we got it.
So, yeah, it is definitely on there.
Look at my fake ID. Look at my fake ID.
Look at it, man. Right here. No, I'm American, bro. I promise. Come on, boys.
That's so funny.
Decent.
Oh god.
So let me ask you something, Chris. With you living in Canada and everything,
Yeah.
how do you guys feel about Trailer Park Boys?
So I had a buddy when I was like very young. He would talk about Trailer Park Boys, like grade 4. So I'm like, what, 11, 12? I'm like, whatever. He just talks about a show and swears a lot. This is funny. So we live vicariously through this kid. And then I hit high school and I saw it and watched it. We love Trailer Park Boys. Like my nephew, he's ran into the guys at the bars in Hamilton. Hamilton's like half an hour from Toronto.
Right.
He's ran into them on the street and been like, oh, like what the hell? And they're like not in character, which throws you off.
Yeah.
And he's seen them in show when they're in character, like walking down the aisles, like when they do their shows. We love them up here. They're freaking unbelievable. I don't watch their animated show. I don't really care for that.
Oh man, it's so good.
Is it good though?
It is. It's really funny. They're working with a different production value.
Okay.
And they get to do a little bit more that they couldn't do on the regular live action show. I do recommend it. It doesn't have the wholesomeness of the original live action season, but there's a reason why they went animated, and it definitely shows throughout the episodes. So I give it a go, man.
I can see that.
Don't shy it.
Almost like a Family Guy, they're able to do so much now. Like the things Bubbles and Ricky want to do, like freaking explode off on an actual rocket to space.
Right. They could never do that. I was talking about that with a friend today, that they can never do that on the live action. They didn't.
I've never even seen an episode of it. The first time I heard of it, it was the day one of me and my ex-girlfriends broke up, and I made a rule that I saw the screen, we broke up, I looked back at the screen, and I was like, never again. And like I never said, like, just still to this day, people talk about it all the time. And I had someone at my new job be like, "Hey, you seen Trailer Park Boys?" And I was like, "No." Like I get the premise, but like there was a point in my life where I lived that to a large degree. Another note of my stupidity. On another note to my stupidity, I think I just learned of a word correction, which I'm proud to know the correct one. But so you said you lived vicariously through someone?
Yeah, is this?
No, so is that's the correct word for like living through someone's second hand or third hand, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that word was bi-curiously, so I'm retarded as shit. Because you said vicariously, and I was like, whoa, he didn't use a B and he meant he was living through someone else? Because I've been talking to people and I was like, I live vicariously through Juice WRLD.
They're just standing there, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I must have sounded like
Vicariously.
a fucking retard.
No.
Jesus.
That is the best thing I heard all week. It was that statement. As that
he said it, and I was wow,
I live
vicarious
vicariously.
sounds good.
I live vicariously to everybody all day, every day.
Every buy.
Every.
I can't imagine the amount of people I said that to. It literally like years. Like that paradigm.
How many?
Sentence was a thing to me.
No pun intended. But how many cocked eyes did you get from that?
I don't know. Say, like
excuse me, bi-curiously? Which is funny because literally saying bi-curiously is would be a Rickyism in Trailer Park Boys, by the way.
I do a great Bubbles. He'd be like, well, vicariously, Bubbles. I mean, I'm living through him.
Come on, boys. I don't want to live vicariously through him.
Do that. I mean, fucking Julian just got him stuck back up there, and it's vicariously.
It's vicariously, guys. Come on, freaking boys. Gotta go over there. Man.
So is there outside
That's really good, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate
that was solid.
that.
That was solid.
I do what I can. I do a decent Ned Schneebly too when I'm on the actual phone as well. I feel my coworkers a lot like that. I'm like, hello, Ned Schneebly.
Do you recommend it's worth watching? And I mean that holistically. Like you're talking to a guy who's 2 billion hours of anime is away from being happy. So like
I would say I definitely didn't like the later seasons. I don't watch the Snoop Dogg stuff.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg stuff. Excuse me.
There's a whole
Snoop
arc
Dogg's,
with
like,
Snoop
tight
Dogg
with
and
them
Tom
shit,
Arnold.
Like, actually,
they're in it or they wrote it.
They're in it.
They're in it.
They're in it. And Tom Arnold's seriously in it. It's just like,
Yeah, and Sebastian
Go back
Bach
to
at one
True Lies,
point.
Sebastian. Oh god. But I love the early seasons. Really like wholesome. Like some of the things, like that's kind of like true Canadians, down to earth. Some of that stuff, like Ray in the wheelchair. Is anyone around? Stands up, carries it up onto the deck, puts it down. He sits back down because he's a fake war vet. Like they got their own. They're so big. They got their own trailer park too for like the last few years, which is pretty cool. You're that big, and Halifax is like, we'll give you a park.
Yeah,
that was cool to see. So definitely check it out. The early ones,
The early stuff is really incredible. And I gotta tell you something, the stuff between them and Lahey is absolutely terrific.
Oh my god.
The guy who actually plays Lahey, I think, is one of the most underrated characters on there because he does it with so
much physical
naturally.
Work. Yeah. It's
so naturally. It's like there's never a moment where you don't doubt he is the character.
Yeah, he really blurs that line really, really well on the show. He plays drunk very well on that show.
So well.
To the point that
I
really think that he got drunk for a lot of the episodes and a lot of the takes, but no, he's doing that sober. That show has a lot of really interesting history through.
Dude, that would take fucking skill. Like I can tell you
right
now.
Elliot Page.
And he's
one season had Elliot Page.
Yeah.
Elliot Page when he was still Ellen.
Can I get a provenance of that guy? Who's he?
Who? Yeah, that name.
He was the trailer park supervisor.
Well, I haven't seen the show. Give me something else. He's not like who.
Elliot
Reed is the name of the blonde girl in Scrubs. I can tell you that.
No, Elliot Page.
I think you're talking about.
I think you're talking about Randy Lahey. Yeah.
So did I.
Elliot Page. Juno.
Yeah.
Shadow
Elliot
Cat.
Page
was now
Shadow Cat from
was
X-Men.
once Ellen Page.
Okay. Yeah. No, Juno,
Yeah.
you got me.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
her.
He.
Oh,
yeah,
she
he,
was the daughter of she was the
Yeah.
daughter of Mr. Lahey. She said, and she was like totally chill
for
with
that
Ricky.
one season.
So
by the
good.
way.
It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Rick? Oh, we're just fucking getting some ring of cans and bringing them in to try and make some money. Oh, sounds good, Rick. Just totally chill with it. And, she killed that role now.
She did. Yeah, he did. He really killed the role. And I'll tell you something. Watching Elliot.
He did.
Watching Elliot really
Yeah,
like
he did.
going up
Yeah.
to Ricky was just like some of the funniest stuff you could ever watch. As a matter of fact, watching Ricky as a parent is hysterical because it's like there's one episode where it's like him and his daughter quit smoking cigarettes, and like because
the
they got the smoking patch. It's like he rips it off in half and gives her half.
The
and he gives
nicotine
the other
patch.
half.
Yeah, and then in the morning he's like, Daddy's bigger. He needs both.
Yo, so on the topic of cans, real quick, I'm just curious. So like,
The sign?
no, like the actual like redeemable cans, like that you said they did, like you bring in cans and you make money for it.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
You bring him into the beer store.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. In real life, do you guys find practicability in that? At my last apartment, when ends were tight, I did that, and I'm not gonna lie. Like I had a 6-foot corner of smelly cans that I did wash out, but without fucking spending a ridiculous amount of time cleaning them, they still smell like dirty cans. And dude, I had like a whole Subaru Impreza full as a metric, and it was like $8. And I was like, bro, this is honestly like they go in the recycling and I never see them again. So I don't do that anymore. And secondarily
I
to
never
that,
had to do that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say. I have no
but
reality.
do
on
you
that.
do that? Is my point. Like if you don't have to do it, you don't do it, right? Like
I
that's
don't do
the
it
thing.
anymore. My dad does because he's like old and he's an old American. He's just like, "Here, I'll take him in and I'll make $20."
Yeah, it's like your garage was
you
full,
do
Dad.
it, Steve. You do it, dude. So he collects them, but I just toss.
Yeah, no,
I guess sometimes we
I
need something to
invest in
do.
stocks. That's
Yeah.
it. That's my cans.
I just put more money in Bitcoin and I'm already happy.
Yeah, there.
That was a nice dip over the week.
Hey,
yeah.
Bye.
What goes out comes in. It's like a wave.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I worry. I wake up sometimes and it's like, 4% on 500. There goes $38, and it's like, okay. And then an hour later, it's like, and I'm up $4. It's like it's volatility. I need a new word. It's so volatile. Like it's like volatile's evil cousin.
You can do
Mr. Cunt.
volatile. You can
Like, it's
you
just-
could throw a B on front, just like vicariously. Volatile. It is so. What is that? It's worse.
So let me
don't wanna
improve. Let me improve my impression to you too. So this is. I thought Mexico was Canada until 10th grade, and
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I lived in New Hampshire, and geography is my Achilles heel. Like I never cared. I was always living for survival at a young age, and I'm not gonna lie. Like maps just were irrelevant to me. I had a GPS. I didn't care. So like I still to this day
It
like
seems fair.
it's like I can get A to B professionally, but I don't give a fuck about the other letters.
I mean, how many Americans can really name all 50 states?
35 and I'm out. Like give me time.
really?
Maybe I get.
I think I can
we
get.
have
I think
11, and I couldn't tell you.
I got this. Newfoundland, Ontario, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan.
I've never heard more than 3.
Nova Scotia. Come on, I got this.
So we have like what 9?
That not New Princeton.
Close.
So close. I know what it's called.
Starts with a B. I'll give you. It starts with a new B. Starts with a B.
New Brunswick.
There we go.
Yep, New Brunswick, and then Quebec.
Boom.
All right, so I'm at 8. Damn, I'm missing.
And we have our territories, which are up
Yeah.
at the top.
The Northern
Oh, shit.
Territories.
Boom. Well,
That's-
I'll
yeah,
give you
that's-
that. I'll give you that.
Okay, that's 9. I cannot think for the other 2. Because we got Nova Scotia. I'm just like looking. I'm trying to I'm literally bringing up the visual of the map in my head, and I'm
Like when we were kids and you see the colors, it's like okay.
right.
You try to remember those too. So what happened to me was this guy, an old guy named Kevin, used to drive, and I quote, across the border to buy illegal fireworks for the 4th. And every 4th he would have like $3,000 or a truck full or
You got him in Mexico.
That's what I thought. And I knew a map vaguely. And so I was like, borders like fucking 3 hours that way. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, so to me, that one sentence, fireworks come over the border. I know what a map kind of looks like. And there's a border right there. I didn't even at the time knew that South America connected through Texas. I had no fucking idea.
I cannot be mad
So,
at that level of ignorance, honestly.
So I raised my hand
honestly
in class, and I was like, that really doesn't make sense to me because that's Mexico, right? And she put the projector up and pulled the map down, and I had 18 of my friends laugh at me. But it was like, I truly thought, I was like, oh, just drive the whole country. And I didn't even know it connected at the time. But still now, if someone said that and I knew the two, I'd be like, drives the whole country to buy fireworks? This guy a lunatic? You know? But
we get fireworks up here. We sell them like once a day, like literally only on Canada Day and like for a certain time.
There's a Canada Day?
Yeah, July 1st.
July 1st, baby. So, and I'm American, so when I was a kid, I'd get July 4th off. My dad's American and shit. Like he would take work off. I got Thanksgiving off, like 2 Thanksgivings and stuff. Usually, like
we already got past Victoria Day and Family Day too. So
Family Day is great.
Yeah, everyone loves
Family Day. When the good God
Family
is this?
Day,
You guys are friendly as
Family
hell.
Day was like, I think because I feel like our government adds days. We look at the American calendar and we're like, okay, they've got President's Day. Okay, what can we name our day? Okay, we'll give like 2 days after that. We'll give our people our day off because that's kind of like
really
I feel
like. Do they align kind of in a shippy
well, like
shape
July
manner?
1st, July 4th. Okay, that's okay. Come on,
Yes, that's rough. That's rough as fuck. Yeah,
that's so fishy. So like, if you look at the calendars, there's so many days.
Do you have
like
a Christmas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same day. Same day.
So,
yeah, literally. Although, not to speak for Chris, not to mansplain for Chris, but their Thanksgiving is the second Monday of October, I think.
I couldn't even tell you that because I just know that the American Thanksgiving is the last. It's the last.
The
Thursday?
fourth Thursday.
I know that better than my own.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even know that Thanksgiving was on the 4th Thursday. I just knew it was at some point in September. November.
Do you need a calendar on top of your atlas too?
That's on my phone. If I need it, it's there. You know. Yeah, man, I'm so not good with I'm not gonna lie. Like I've studied so much philosophy. I might be better at naming like fucking regions around Mesopotamia than I am at naming fucking places in America. You know what I mean? Like I really don't know shit about geography. But then again, like when the satellites go down and I can't use my maps, then I'll learn because there's hard copies. You know, but even then, you refer to a hard copy. You're not like the dude who remembers the whole map. He's probably not good at other things. He remembers the whole fucking map. You know,
I will say I've never at some point I never needed a GPS. I knew exactly where I was going all the time. I used to do Uber a couple years ago.
Within your life, like
within my life. Yeah, you're right. Because I'm in my 3 counties. I know 2 of them very well by heart. So when someone says I need to go here, I know exactly where to go. And I'll even ask them, all right, I want to go this way. And they go, oh, what about your GPS? I go, bro, I don't need a GPS. I know exactly where I'm going.
Like, I think it would honestly be viscerally irritating if someone told me drive to California, no maps, no GPS. I'd be like, I don't want to fucking do that because I'm not going to wait till I see.
Game on, baby. Let's do it.
No,
I think we should make this into a competition.
I want A to B. I want expedite. And like, I'm not afraid of doing the trip, but I don't want to get lost in fucking Tennessee's 4 corners of corn or Connecticut's, you know, and like, or wherever the long states are where it's just nothing forever.
And then you end up in a Jeepers Creepers / Texas Chainsaw Massacre
that was the first
situation.
movie that ever fucked with me. My dad showed it to me at like 11. Dude, I was running home from work. I would be at my friend's house on 5th Street and I would run full speed home and give myself a 45-second timer looking up like this motherfucker's going to eat me if I don't shut my door in 45 seconds. And I would blister home, dude. I've had shoes fall off. I didn't stop. Fucking, you know, literally. I don't know. I ran home at night.
I get that. When I went to New York City, I'd be like walking around and I'm like, all right, where's this place? I walk past it. I'd be like, shit. And I just pull up my GPS, be like, thank God nobody knows I missed that spot. And I would just keep making right-hand turns and squares until I got to the place. I'd be like, there we go. That took me 20 minutes to walk, 5 minutes if I just turned around. But I was like, if I turn around, some New Yorker is going to look at me and go, guy's a fucking tourist. I can't be a tourist in New York. I got to just head down, walk with commitment.
No, New York really
I get that.
Shit about the tourists.
No, we don't.
Because the tourists are all just surrounded in their own little areas. Like the touristy areas. It's like outside of that, it's like, if you walk back, it's just like, oh, you probably forgot something.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't know. I was just paranoid at that point. I was like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but that is true.
I want
Really
to
gives
check
a
out a
shit.
few of these articles, mainly to work on how the software works. So first of all, I want to talk about the boat that I'm sure you guys heard about, that the canal that got blocked.
Yes. Yes.
Very cool.
So I
I
sent you guys.
saw a great GIF on that where they used Austin Powers, the first one. You remember where he gets the vehicle?
Oh,
stuck on-
so
Yes.
good.
They put the evergreen ship over the vehicle and it had him just going back and forth like that.
All
So
right.
right
That's
now
perfect.
I'm showing all the viewers, they can see a view of it, and they can also see us on our
Yeah.
little
I
camera
brought up the
views.
article on my end so I can see it with you, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
There we go.
that's hilarious. I mean, so I woke up and I always kind of slide over to the Apple News and just see what the headlines are, and it's usually top 3 are always like new wave of COVID, OMG, says CNN, and it's like I don't give a fuck. I can't. I wish I could tell if you were
First of all,
disingenuous
fuck
or true.
CNN.
You know, I appreciate the news, but like I don't know whether
Yeah.
they're upping it for hype, for ratings, or whether there's really a new wave. There's always a new wave. That's how pathology works with these viruses. You know, they
Usually.
change. Different blood, different people, different environment, they change. But nonetheless, so I saw this and I was like, whoa, Twitter blowing up? Let me see some tweets. And dude, there was so many people grueling it. Do you guys see all the memes there were about it?
Oh my god, this has been so memeable. It's been really memeable.
I don't know how does there's no way Augusta Wind did this to this ship. Somebody fucked
No,
up.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
user there's definitely user error on
It
this
has
one.
to be. Like I think wind is a factor, but like not that much.
How long has this guy been a captain of a ship? First of all, let's just look at that. How long has he been a captain? Because at least it's not Concordia. If you guys remember that.
Oh god, that guy.
I think what I find even more hilarious is that
Mm-hmm.
so it said it got caught in a 40-knot wind and sandstorm, and
Mm.
they're also investigating possible human or technical errors because they were probably getting blown while the sandstorm was going on or something.
Yeah.
But still, like this
40-knot
one
wind.
river is like
Yeah.
the main source way for tons of places. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not the ship fucking up's not the biggest deal. The ship stopping everything else from continuing is the big deal, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally, it's literally stopping the Silk Road. It's halting. It's putting traffic on any import export outside of that country into other countries. And I say stock up on what you got, bro.
What does Visually Industries do? They're a little exporting, a little importing.
There you go.
A little importing,
That's
a little
the-
exporting
what do you think?
matches.
That's the synopsis.
peppers.
That's the synopsis there, buddy. That's how you're gonna get. Yeah, that's your synopsis. You don't need to know any more than that. That's all clip information, eh?
And you want to be my latex salesman.
So we'll segue from the river to the first link, or one of the links I sent you. I don't know what order I sent them. I forgot. There was a flooding in Nashville. I always find flooding interesting because to me, like I think about like the memeable level of quicksand that I thought of as a kid, where like you'd step in it and slowly sink, and then you just grab a stick and climb out. But like flooding always gets me. Flooding to kill people seems like, I guess it's like the torrential downpours that make it happen, but a bunch of people died, and this, top news story or whatever.
Yeah, so it there could be a number of factors there. They could have been homeless, they could have been elderly, they could have been disabled, and that could be a number of reasons why someone would drown. And when it comes to, let's say, 13 inches of rainfall, oh my good, over 36 hours.
Yeah, well, it says that that memories from a flood in 2010 was amongst the city's
okay,
worst.
no, I'm reading that wrong. Okay.
Yeah. And so it was like in 36 hours, 13 inches of rain fell, 26 people died, and the destruction took months to clean up.
I was gonna say, Leon, you're right. I'm just going through. It's like there's a few people that died at like homeless camps, like older people in
I'm
cars,
seeing that too.
Couldn't get out.
Yeah,
that's terrifying.
It really is, because I mean, any able-bodied person who can, adaptate to a situation would be able to get out of that. The only thing that they will lose is their electronics, their books, whatever, your car. But you, at the end of it, you should be able to survive. Matter of fact, I'm looking on the right over here. My wife prepared us a survival go bag if anything went tits up.
You have one hell of a wife.
She's a very
you got a go bag. Wow.
I got a go bag of survival. I mean, I know how, I know how to pick locks. I know how to shoot an arrow. I know, so I'm good.
Oh, I'm with you, man. I spent my formidable years. That means younger, right? Formidable. Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
Let's
I
just
know
go with
my
it.
my words.
It's
it
by
goes with it.
Vicariously, you're doing a good job.
Exactly.
But yeah, I spent my younger years like training all in defense. Like I studied, facial monitoring and or deception, the 44 muscles in your face that make up 10,000, correlated emotions, and then the behavioral science and sociology and psychology and neurology and yada yada yada, all the shit that lets you look at someone and try to understand more without knowing more.
Mhm.
I
And
just played Texas Hold'em.
yeah, no, that's all that
Would have
all
been
those
quicker,
exist.
and you would have got money.
Yeah.
And it's a twofer. And hitting 25, like my new philosophy is like, I never want to fight, but I'd rather be prepared than not. And so like, yeah, I took karate and I studied up mental judo, so to speak. And I feel like I'm strong now, but now I feel like I wonder if, like, in the sense of having a kid, do I prepare my child for the worst of circumstances and take that block of time that, I mean, like, I don't regret putting that time into it, but what if you did? What if the next 60 years of my life is nothing but pacifism and all that time I put into learning how to protect myself just in case was kind of null and void? Like,
Honestly, it's the philosophy of hope for the best but prepare for the worst.
mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that mindset, because you, at the end of the day, you have to live for you, right? And for others, if you have a kid such as yourself, right? If you're not having fun at the end of the day, then like life kind of loses its meaning if you're not really having fun. If there's no game to life, it starts to kind of just lose its meaning, and then you get into this very apathetic state of mind. But I think it's fun to learn. I want to go by myself, learn how to shoot an arrow. Am I ever going to use it? I don't know, but it's fun to shoot the arrow. I taken self-defense classes since I was a kid. I'm a scrappy guy. I like fighting. I mean, I'm not gonna go out pick a fight on the street, but when push came to shove, I know subconsciously those things I retain that information, and I will use it through almost a muscle memory, tactical like effort. But I'm never going to look at it as that I'm wasting my time learning these martial arts. I'm wasting my time learning how to pick a lock. You just just take, just have fun with it. Don't try to don't overanalyze it. That's my advice.
No, that's good. And just saying out here, we kind of switched to we started early, but we switched to like an hour regiment due to scheduling and stuff. So we're at like 5-minute warning now. So just letting everyone know. But before the end, we'll let you plug your stuff, Chris. So don't worry about that. But yeah, no, I don't know. What about you, Chris? As a northerner, what do you
over Ontario?
Or
Ontario? I mean, I would say I'm one of those kids. I'm very proud to be Canadian, like have my dad be American in me, and like my mom's British blood. I'm proud of all three.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, yeah, I mean,
did you study self-defense growing up? Like, is that a big thing?
It's not a big thing in my family. Now, I would say, like, I'm not a fighter at all. I would definitely rather talk, be more passive. But I played a lot of team sports. Through those team sports, I will fight and die for the person, next to me. Like, I could just, anything were to happen. Like, I can remember times like playing sports, younger kids on like my hockey teams and stuff. There are better players. I'm not as good. Like, I will punch the kid in the face who's going after our youngest guy or whatever and shit like that. So I think for me, it's more of push comes to shove. I would do anything like that.
Okay.
I don't, like, I would say this, like, I know we know how to fight, block and, from hockey, but I've never ever had to use it. And if I did, I honestly don't have any fear of doing that. Cause like where I live right now in Hamilton, it's, a little bit of a rougher area. And I always have my wits about me when I walk, always just, have a head on a swivel. And like, if anything were to happen, I'm confident I would at least get out on the better side. Or if I'm with someone, they would at least get out on the better side. And if that means, I'm hurt or more so, that I would take that over that. It's kind of how I am. I lay my life down. Yeah.
No, I think that's said quite well.
I can dig it.
Yeah. I'm a very big team player, and I obviously learned how to play a solo game too. But yeah, no, I truly I think it's good to be prepared. I think in the sense of like my daughter, I think I'll teach her the things without like I did it under the context of survival. Like I learned how to fight to fight. I think I might
Yeah.
just take her hiking a lot and keep her stretched
it.
and get her body in the
Yeah,
same shape
exactly.
and
Do it,
discipline that
bro.
you could
Do it.
without, like with karate. But the discipline can be learned in other ways.
So you can see it like say 12 years, 15 years down the road, she uses that stuff and then she'll be like, oh shit, dad, all those years ago, this is what he was actually, that's what that was for. Shit, I wouldn't know. Yeah.
And then if push comes to shove, just be like Chris and have a really encyclopedic knowledge of Seinfeld. That'll get you. That's survivability right there. That's gonna be a commodity.
Yeah.
If you do that Elaine dance, they're not gonna hit you.
No one's gonna hit
a
you.
You know who
seasoned
can?
person.
No one.
Oh my mother can do it. Like, and my mother, she's got like really bad hands for being a nurse. So her thumbs, she can put them in like this crazy position, and she'll start doing the thumbs and the kicking. And I was like, Mom, your hips are gonna pop out, and they were just replaced. Like, God,
so funny.
stop.
No, but it's been great having you on, man. And why don't you before we all say goodbye, and why don't you plug your socials, whatever you want, to anyone who wants to find you? They'll be beneath the show anyways.
Dude, on Twitter I'm Chris Creaturo, just first name last name. On Instagram, Creaches, CREACHEZ.
Yep, that's the top of the screen the whole episode.
Oh, beauty. Yeah, I don't even know my Reddit. I think it's the same, Creaches. I'm very active Reddit and Twitter. And Instagram's quiet right now because of what I've got working on in my booklet of writing.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Happy to have you. No, thank you, Spencer and Leon. Go ahead and say goodbye. Plug anything you want to plug. Goodbye, folks. From me.
Check me out on Letterboxd, Rufio 86.
Links below this show. Leon, anything to say?
Check me out at Alternative Zen on Instagram and Twitter.
Cool. Those links will be beneath the show. I don't have them yet, but I'll throw them under there before it goes up. So thanks everyone for listening. And if they won't listen, 31.
Heard that.
All right. Be easy. Don't be sleazy.
Stay classy like San Diego.